Hey guys, welcome back to World End Economica. My name is Fudce, and a hoarse voice made itself known as we both raised our faces. Doctor. In most places with the epitome of wealth, Dr. Wallace still looked from a picture of an ascetic in a desert. He cracked his cane on the ground and squinted his light green eyes, which seemed like it could see through anything in this world. Then shook his head after looking at the tumult in the central hall. Such foolishness. Damn ye old hogs. This is exactly what I mean when I talk about not fearing God. The lightning of truth will burn me entrails. Doctor, won't you have a seat? My proposal, Wallace faced me and nodded. You're quite late. I dropped by Clapton Square, you see. You're looking for a present for Maria? I had trouble imagining someone like Wallace wandering in with a flamboyant animated giant shopping mall in Clapton Square. But as I asked my question, Wallace shook his head. I want to take a look at human madness. Since you're saying your biography, you did the same. She looked at me with a bored grin. My autobiography was released without my intervention as a compilation of all things I blabbered about back when I wasn't used to interviews. However, he smiled through his sarcasm, showing he was a British gentleman, born and bred. Doctor, what do you mean by alchemy? He interrupted our conversation. He only glanced at me without answering straight away. He closed his eyes, obstinately, and muttered this. It's alchemy! He looked at me as if asking for my help. We're talking about manipulating numbers in my accounting books. When Wallace talked about alchemy, usually that's what he meant. In my words, Wallace opened one eye and glanced at me. It's protection. Protection? You mean like some hedge option? Looks like your stock investment to a bone. He opened both eyes, uttering this in consternation. You got me there. That's the best I could come up with. It's a virtue to not touch things you do not understand. Isn't it insurance and securities? Marco seemed to have been looking up the stuff on his tablet intensively, trying to restore his honour. Youth is truly ignorance and passion. He smiled uncertainly with ambiguity of that compliment. Exactly, an insurance. But how does one become an alchemy? Let my gaze wander a bit, still fiddling with numbers. And as I realised how it worked, I was flabbergasted. It couldn't be. Dr. Wallace nodded, as if to say, that's what you think it is. The truth is too horrible to see. He muttered before resuming. Let us say you have a mezzanine claim of 10 million mortals at a yield of 5%. That meant at one hand, you have a yearly return of 500,000 moors. And let's say the insurance cost to compensate for a loss to a securities fault is 3%. It is 300,000 moors. That means, in theory, a claim for 10 million moors and get no risk profit out of the remaining 2%, being 200,000 moors. No risk, that goes beyond the highest rank, AAA. Do you realise what this means? There are a few possibility cases for a claim to turn up a loss. The easiest way to explain this when a claim defaulted, when a party shirked payment and was asked to forget the debt. So when subtracting the insurance on the interest, investors would turn a profit of 200,000 moors. Even if the claim then collapsed, insurers would cover the losses. Because of this, these 200,000 moors are absolutely guaranteed profits with 200,000 at no risk. But unless we're talking about junk claims, defaulting almost never happened. Yet defaulting was still a possibility, so claims had their interest rate vary based on ranking. Basically, there was an interest rate attached to a claim, taking risk in account. Returns were a reward for risks. But should an investment interest rate of a claim exceed the insurance cost, we call it a no risk. It was literally the holy grail of the investment world. People have been seeking it for hundreds of years. And to top it all off, the current accounting regulations are not up to speed with such systems. So if you use insurance, you can count on full profit of a claim in one go. In a scenario where you keep it all after it expires, after all, it's a no-risk claim. And since this is guaranteed profit, let's count towards tomorrow's profit as today's profit. It's no problem after all. In an instant, the balance sheet is like a glowing wooden fleece. God of fleece. All rich people want to invest in this field will charge like balls towards a golden fleece. Suppose this is the case. Can't you understand why they wouldn't make such a fuss about it? Ones making the most fuss about it were young cattle, risk takers who didn't hesitate to rush speculative deals by borrowing huge amounts of capital. It's called the Holy Grail because it brings profits without having to work hard. If you buy the securities and insurance set from E.J. Rockberg, you can theoretically increase your profits infinitely. After all, it's a no-risk investment, so no matter how much capital you borrow, no matter how much leverage you apply, no problem. Since this strategy will never fail, you just have to pile capital upon capital and make more money, right? Plus, the more profit you make, the more you'll be able to solicit participation in a scheme. Now then. Wallace turned his gaze back upon us with a complacent smile as he uttered these words. How can you call that anything but alchemy? Indeed. But does such a thing as no risk really exist in this world? It couldn't be. In stock trading, even insider information said to give you an absolute win. You had no way to tell whether the person giving you this information was trustworthy. Besides, I'd personally gone through the experience of being blown to kingdom come via insider trading. Returns are a medal of merit and a risk you had taken. No matter how much a market might change, there should be an immutable principle. Which is why the past held several examples of Holy Grail being discovered, anyone fussing about it. There have been several strategies that touted as infallible in the past, right? My words, Wallace hid his devilish smile. Yes. The most famous one even ended up being a trigger for Black Monday of 1987. The so-called portfolio insurance, right? Come to think of it, it also has insurance in it. If, for a given stock's buying position, the value has shown signs it might fall, you hedge against that by short-selling futures. That way, even if spot's price falls, since selling futures will turn a profit, it's no problem. This is why we called it insurance for portfolio. Well, it really was a merely extreme half-assed idea. There was a problem with how it worked. It was Marco who made that comment. When he closed his eyes, without asking, grabbed my sparkling water and started sipping it. I asked a passing server for another one and explained how it worked to Marco. Well, the idea was good, but back in the day no one noticed the gamma trap. Huh? Delta is what you call a range of price of movement for a given stock. The speed of that price of movement is called gamma. Basically, when the movements are too fast, sales and purchase can't be performed in time. The gap between theory and reality widens. Especially back then, given everyone was taking part in the market through portfolio insurance was a perfect system. And that you all use the same strategy. As a result, just because of a slight drop in price, everyone started selling en masse. It's really stupid, sure it was a lifeboat, but everyone climbs on board. Of course it's going to sink. Sales and purchases of stock only work because both sales and purchases exist. The system worked with the assumption that if there's something sold, someone will surely buy it. But because they blindly believed that, they fell for a gamma trap. You can sum it up as a measure of fear or panic. Back then, they didn't understand the market enough. So the Holy Grail this time is about the same thing? Marco. Called out his name and shrugged. Wallace followed his brow in displeasure. Marco raised his shoulders like he was trying to make himself small on the sofa. In this world, you can divide knowledge into 4 states, I explained to Marco. Simply put, for a given fact, a state where you know that you know. In fact, here at Club 25, you can make requests on a whim. Then, where you don't know that you know. Common sense falls under this. Usually you'd never be aware of it, but you actually do know about it. Among the remaining 2, one is a state where you know that you don't know. For instance, I'm aware myself that I don't know how to explain money-making business in Tagalog. The last one is a state where you don't know that you don't know. This is where the demon hides. The black swans lying in the non-linear world, but no one can anticipate. No matter the place, no one can predict what's going to happen. If you happen to bet you're everything there, you would bear witness to the end of the world. Avalon, for instance, is a good example of that. Marco sort of glanced at Wallace, who was muttering before turning to me. Marco took his time before opening his mouth. That was his own way of showing courage. But then you don't know what the problem is? Just a chance there's a problem? That's about it. Forewarned is forearmed. Just think twice before you act. There are tons of such proverbs in the world, but it's really rational to always be on the lookout for something unimaginable to happen. After all, dangers that hid in his domain were far more than expected, and risks were impossible but one could imagine. Such as the sun blowing up or a meteorite hitting a lunar surface. Wasn't being cautious just more like a mental defect? Marco looked like this was what he wanted to say, and it wasn't like I didn't understand what I was thinking. However, this Holy Grail was warranting a profit with no risk as a logical inconsistency, and that was a fact. Because if they really could do a no-risk investment, E.J. Rockberg would do everything on their own. Yet with the insurance and securities different in their rates, people still flocked to them. That meant there was some sort of deception going on. There are three possibilities. The old adage that if something seems too good to be true, it usually is. E.J. Rockberg having some hidden profit or some risk embedded in a product in such a way that no one can find it or both. When alchemists talk about turning lead to gold, simply put, it's a lie. The Philosopher's Stone, but according to legends, that's what it is. I guess Marco, being an Earth fanboy, made him knowledgeable about these things. Wallace opened one eye and glanced at Marco and sneered. That's not what I meant. With current scientific technology, it is possible to change atoms of bismuth into atoms of gold. However, what alchemists are talking about is not that. In the real world, lead ore contains gold. This is just an exaggeration of that fact. After all, you extract gold from water. That's not the same as turning seawater into gold, though. E.J. Rockberg is playing all those people out there like fiddles, probably because they found a way to extract gold from lead. They're making a show of it, like as of alchemy, like in the legends. But Marco timidly tried to reply, but faced with my glare and Wallace's, he made himself even smaller. If he didn't close his mouth, it was the same reason why Chris is being pampered with Crowd Hall. Mathematics are a tool for worldwide, which proof can be established. With some deception, there should be a quant making use of a flawed mathematical model of the market and help Whittaker know. Wallace looked at Marco, in return looked back at him with a stubbornness befitting a young boy. The silent standoff lasted a moment before Wallace averted his eyes. Someone enjoying this. Tell me, young man, what do they call me? Surprising, but looked like Wallace had taken a liking to Marco. It's the King of Pessimism. As noted this title, Wallace gave a devilish chuckle. Yes, I have no means of questioning the logic soundness of the math. However, I can question their major premise. One must look back in history. Mathematics are not almighty. God is not going to show us the perfect truth of this world. Wallace's world was resounded in a heavy weight, especially for me who experienced failure and exposed huge deception on the lunar surface. These things might happen. The world getting toppled over was something that might happen. Still, simply by calling it the Holy Grail and managing 1.7 billion more in sales, the world sure is scary. As I groaned, Wallace lightly cleared his throat. Which is precisely why I see this as an opportunity. Huh? His green eyes were filled with a strong but brilliant light. I munched on one of the cold fries on the table. No matter how first-rate chef cooked it, junk food was always junk food. Lead couldn't turn into gold. I was one of a few truths in this world. You're one of a few people in this world who maintains a balance. I think in the near future there might be something I could help you with. He planted his cane on the ground and stood up. Where are you going? I'm going home. How about staying just a little longer? He shrugged, turning his eyes full of scorn towards me. I came here to gather my thoughts. The best way to do this is to talk to people. We wouldn't be able to follow this kind of conversation. So that meant one of his reasons for coming this way to see his commotion here was to talk with me. His glare belied what he just said. Like a shy, stubborn old man. Madness is something you're able to notice when it's far away. But madness here is too much for me to handle. He pointed to the centre of the hall with a nose, in a gesture of disgust. Well then, let's talk about later about how to make money. Ah, it's commotion. He held out his breath an instant, and with glare so sharp it had me on edge, uttered the following words. This is just the beginning, mark my words. And with that, Wallace checked his cane and walked away. The commotion of the hall was at its usual level. You could see people who were sitting in the corners that were probably salespeople. If they didn't buy now, it was a loss. If they didn't buy more, it was a loss. That was the mood that was filling the place. That's because things must really be working like that, and if we're selling that much, it means there is people who actually turn that much profit from the scheme. People like Wallace seem to think there is a deception at work here. You could say this way of thinking befitted tried and true short seller. However, Imro was sure Wallace would produce a speech capable of putting into motion, just hunched himself on a cane and left the club unsteady, supporting himself from a cane. Was this the humility of a wise man who, while everyone was in a festive mood and fussed about, discerned the truth and waited for a profit to come? Or was I seeing a lonely departed figure, an old man who could handle a commotion? Even though I trusted myself to have impartial judgment, I could not feel any strength from seeing Wallace's back. After all, Wallace had only seen losses. The market was proving that his strategy was wrong. Even if he dismissed ABS as an alchemy, he couldn't be avoided being seen as a sore loser. The truth of the matter was, even if he had made a speech, people would not get angry before retorting. They would simply just listen to what he said with lukewarm reception. Right, by the way, how's your performance this quarter, is what he would say. The times are changing. Sometimes what worked before ceased working, and other members started working out with blue. That's what happened here, might be an investment befitting of a new era. However, if I didn't feel pity for Wallace, it's not because it was an unlevel person. It's because that my stance as an investment made me feel instinctively there was an exception in the scheme. Thinking about what made me feel like a pang of unrest, just like when you started catching a cold and felt something was off your chest. Maybe I was like, just like Wallace, starting to get behind the times. I was standing to see Wallace off. I was looking vacantly at the whole floor, filled with a maelstrom of desire and money. The king of pessimism, right? Sitting back in my chair, I heaved a small sigh. I'm going outside for a minute. Saying that, I left Marco at his seat and went to a terrace. Probably a good point to end it, actually. As ever, thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.